Y'all, happy full moon in Sagittarius. This is a blue moon, so it's a rare occurrence. A blue moon happens when there are 2 full moons in one lunar cycle, or when there are 4 full moons in one season, 1 quarter of the year. So very exciting. So the fact that there's like we began the month, the first day of the month was a full moon, and then we're ending the last day of the month in a full moon, I think is very auspicious. It's a lucky book ending, and it's really exciting because our full moon is in Jupiter, not Jupiter, but Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, which expands and brings like good fortune and luck to the things that we have put effort into. Right? So all the work that we've been putting into something that we might have started like 6 months ago, for me, that's when about the time I started the Substack and Patreon adventure and started looking into that and building that out slowly. And today, guys, like literally right now as we speak, I'm babysitting the video upload on Patreon. The Substack paid launch welcome orientation email is currently waiting to launch at the full moon, at the moment of the full moon on Substack. So if you want to, you are good to go now. So if you want to follow me on Substack, you will go to Elizabeth Rose or at the Elizabeth Rose, and you'll see like a pink, rosy, and black and white logo of me. And the main public profile is Elizabeth Rose. And so you'll subscribe to that, and that's free. And that's all of my work in one portfolio in one spot. All the public work that is free. Then on that same profile, underneath the first little brief description like sentence, you will see like it'll have it'll show multiple publications. The Secret Teachings is my new publication that I'm launching. That's the one that you're going to want to subscribe to for $6 a month to get in-depth teachings on the spiritual concepts that we talk about all the time in these videos, but this will be in a more uniform curriculum where you can like look up the video will be about a specific subject or a specific topic. We're also going to do a lot of like theological study and the Gnostics, Old Testament, New Testament, Torah, Zohar, lost books of the Bible, like you name it, all the lovely heretic theology, the mystic interpretation of it all. So I'm really, really excited to launch this. It is my calling in this life. And so the first several videos of the series will be setting up the framework of how to approach biblical literacy and understanding and interpretation, and the importance of understanding the context of theology at large. All right, so let's get into tonight's video. Again, I will put a link to that new Substack and the new Patreon. Patreon is going to be the same content, but if you're a Patreon user, you'll be able to subscribe to me there. If you're a Substack user, you'll be able to subscribe to me there. So it'll be the same publication, just in the 2 different formats. Okay, so tonight we're here for our full moon workshop in Sagittarius, mutable Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is so fun and exciting, and I think that this is really renewing our motivation and inspiration. There's a couple of really big heavenly dynamics going on over the next few weeks that I think are going to really uplift our energy and our prospects. So starting with this full moon, it's the second one, and it's extra lucky, and it's extra lucky because it's the second full moon, but in the month, but it's also ruled by Sagittarius and ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is expansive, and it is like fun and warm and adventurous and exciting and probing and penetrating, and it and it loves like philosophy and grand big ideas and expanded vistas and vision, and so it's very expansive. So whatever you give to Jupiter in the form of effort and sacrifice, and sincerity and like real elbow grease, that Jupiter will really expand that boon that you will receive for your efforts. So hopefully you've been working on something near and dear to your heart over the last several months, over the last 6 months from whenever we had these Sagittarius new moon. And hopefully a lot of your like spiritual healing and growth is culminating right now as well, because it's like the influence of Sagittarius is mutable and it's fiery, and it's like we were saying, like it's deep thinking, it's philosophical, it's big picture. So it's like right now I feel like we are getting a major glimpse of the hindsight, like 2020 vision of the hindsight of everything that we've been sort of living through the past few years that have showed us like the culmination of our lifelong lessons. And so I think that there's been a real overhaul over the last few years in our external world in our lives, but like also in our internal identity. We've really been doing a reinvention, a death and rebirth, and in stages. So I think that we are coming into like this like ownership of everything that we've been through, and now we're really feeling really sturdy in what we've become, we're becoming and what we've become, and like understanding what we've been through, why it has served us and for what purpose, and then how it's grown us. And so we're having like a real revelation in regards to all the lessons that we've learned, and it's just really sinking in and hitting us, and all that wisdom is now being integrated, and now we can embody that. And so the internal changes happened, and that's very exciting, because in life we can force external changes and we can force like a superficial manifestation. But if we haven't shifted internally on a spiritual vibrational level, that thing that we like brought in won't stick. It won't be a vibrational match. So the key to lasting fulfillment is to find the spiritual remedy first and foremost. And then the other efforts that you put in the external remedies will take effect, but they won't really work, or they won't stick unless the spiritual issue is addressed. So I think that the spiritual issue has been addressed, and now it's like, boom, we have 2020 hindsight vision. We're really understanding it. It's really integrating. And now we are feeling like kind of like a new person. Like we've been turbocharged and set loose. And I think that we're feeling a lot more optimistic about like opportunities and things that maybe we thought we just had given up on or weren't even excited about anymore. And I think part of this too is in part due to the fact that Jupiter has been in Cancer over the past, like, I can't remember how long. It feels like a million years. It might have just been like a year and a half. I'm not quite sure, to be perfectly honest. I can't remember, and I should have looked it up, but you know. So it doesn't matter because it's almost over, right? But have you felt very, very emotional over the last couple of years? I know I have. Like, I mean, I'm already an emotionally vivid person, having my moon in Cancer, the ruling sign. So having Jupiter expand what already is insane levels of emotion is like, it's been almost incapacitating the last couple of years, like to some degree. And so sometimes it's felt that way. And so like, if you're feeling like the kind of like bog, like mood swamp is like finally burning off in the glory of the illuminating sunlight coming out, then you're not alone, because Jupiter is finally moving out of this moody emotional Cancer and into more fun-loving Spitfire Leo. More raucous and rambunctious Leo. So that's good. I'm already feeling a lot more full of piss and vinegar, if you don't mind me saying so. It's just feeling like ready to go out and take the world by the horns, the bull by the horns. So I'm feeling a lot better, and I think we're all going to feel a lot better. And plus, like, this time of Jupiter in Cancer has also been amplifying like what was making us feel insecure, and looking at our lives and what security and intimate close knit networks and safety net groups and tribal community, you know, what we had in our lives that made us feel looked after and loved and secure, and you know, feelings of intimacy, right? We might not have like a traditional family situation, but we all have like chosen family, right? So how did that look, and how did that shift? And like monetary wise, like do you feel, not only do you feel secure in your relationships, but do you feel like your general finances and well-being are secured? You know, we were just looking at our household, our being, ourself, our immediate close circles. And so on top of that, Uranus was in Taurus. And so the Uranus is like, you know, upsetting, and it's always like, you know, bringing shock and dismay and change and upheaval. And so Taurus is like that influence that wants stability and security as well. So everything that is stability and security has been under the microscope for the last couple of years. And even though we've been really focused on improving those areas and enhancing those areas, it feels like we've been like a salmon swimming upstream. But I think that all that work is now going to be like, oh, I'm sad about that. I've been babysitting this video, uploading to Patreon, and if it like times out, it's glitchy, and I should have moved the thing. Unfortunate. So anyway, our security, even though we've been trying to improve upon that, has been disrupted at like every end. Maybe not in extreme ways, but in subtle ways where you feel like some invisible force is just kind of sabotaging your efforts. Well, I think that it's all going to pay off. It's going to be like if you pull back like a slingshot, and the rubber band, the tension from the rubber band is going to add to your velocity when you let go. Like, and oh my God, same as the Archer. Doritos for the Sagittarius, right? So all of the pressure, right, the amplified pressure that Jupiter can represent as well, pulling back on the bow is going to launch our desires and our intentions even further. So don't feel bad about the maybe turbulence you've been through the last couple of years, especially if it's culminated recently. I think that we are on a positive turn in a new direction, in a positive direction, in an upturn. So Leo is going to start lightening things up a lot. Not only that, there is is it today? No, it's the 9th. It's June 9th. There is a conjunction of Venus and Jupiter together in Cancer. So Venus being amplified by Jupiter, that's more security, more beauty, more inspiration, more love, more relationships. So everything that has been challenged and tense over the last couple of years is now going to get like a dash of fairy dust for summer. So I'm really excited. This is going to be a lot brighter and lighter energy through June. And it's going to be kind of kicked off with this full moon. So, no need to pontificate and be redundant on things we have just named. So, I think all things Sagittarius. As always, when we are under the influence of the sign of the lunation, we can reveal that sign's strengths and positive attributes and powers only by overcoming, in my belief or observation, I think that we reveal the light of those signs when we overcome the the difficulties that those signs possess as well. So something that is representing us in the context of this moment, the first card out is this is tied to guilt. So I think that we are recently part of those revelations, and I think that this was helped by Uranus moving into Gemini and just helping us communicate a shift, a change in heart, a change in attitude. But I think that the things that we used to do because we felt guilty and obligated, like a sense of guilt and obligation, I think that we are beginning to be able to discern more clearly what we should be doing out of a sense of duty and valor and being honorable versus what we're doing out of a sense of obligation and guilt. And there's a big difference. You stand on your scruples, stand on business when you are adhering to duty and being of high value and valor and being honorable, but you are opening yourself up to being vulnerable to manipulation when you tend to do things out of obligation and guilt. And so there's strong boundaries in the first case, and then there are open, porous, weak boundaries in the second case. In the first case, when we do things out of being honorable and having valor and a sense of duty and generosity and justice in the world, cosmic justice, we are empowered and we are giving and we are sharing and we are in ownership and in authority and sovereignty over ourselves and our choices. Whereas when we are and that gives us a sense of self-esteem and self-respect. And so the other being that if we're doing things out of guilt and shame and obligation, then we start to have feelings of being victimized and manipulated and doing things that we didn't want to do. And so then we're inauthentic and we're out of alignment, and then we feel bitter and resentful. So it's a shift in your perspective, and then it's not like your answer may be different to different items on your list, right? Like being forced to spend time with maybe a destructive character in your environment is a no-go, right? And so maybe you did that before, you went along with it out of a sense of guilt and obligation, and now you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or showing up to be in charge of like something that you felt guilty and obligated, but it really doesn't even have to do anything with you. It's just that people are used to being able to rely on you for this thing, and it's just a matter of needing to set that boundary and communicate, right? Whereas there are certain things like, tithing, for instance. You don't want to tithe out of guilt or obligation, but rather a sense of duty and sharing and being honorable. And that gives you a sense of like self-esteem, even though you shouldn't tithe to feel good about yourself, but you feel it does give you an inner sense of like well-being and peace. I think to me it does. So let's read the front of the card. The situation that you find yourself in is related to guilt. This needs to be explained or explored, discovered, this needs to be explored. Discover the root of this guilt to heal it. Your decisions are being influenced by guilt. If you allow someone to make you feel guilty, you give them your power and they have some level of power over you. Guilt is different from both remorse and shame. All right. Let's see, what is crossing us now? Energy detox, and there's more going on than meets the eye. So I think that this is a case of the little foxes spoil the vine. So maybe little thoughts, little attitudes, little negative speech here and there. You think it's benign and you're not noticing it. And so it's going unnoticed, but it's doing more damage than you think. So going back and paying attention to how are you looking at things? How are you speaking about things? Like, for example, I often talk about work being a place of like spiritual practice, because there's always clashing characters coming through, and because I work in a restaurant, it's like there's constant movement. It's not like an office where you work with the same 8 people for years and years and years. It's like there's different people coming through, there's different guests coming through every night, so there's different dynamics all the time. So it's a playground for spiritual growth and development, and trigger central, right? So every now and then the universe sends a batch of new hires in, and it seems like there's one out of the group every time that has some sort of weird like tikkun issue that compels the rest of the crew to like, I don't know, it's just like, it's very triggering for many reasons, right? So they usually pass through and they're there for varying durations of time. And so when it seems like it's like clockwork that like that person leaves and then the new person comes in, it's like they're almost like the same archetype, right? So we had a character leave at one point in the restaurant. And then there was a new person that came around that same time, and they weren't there for the same role, but they were just a new person when another person had left, and this person who just left was like very negative in a lot of ways and very destructive in a lot of ways. And so it was very tense and very like hard on everyone as a group unilaterally. We all agreed. And the person left, and then this new person came in, and they just seem like they're still in training, or they were the last time I was there, but they just seemed very like on the ball, positive, go-getter, like nice looking, like squeaky clean kind of kid. And I'm just like, my first instinct is like, there's got to be something wrong. There's no way. There's got to be a catch. Like, there's no way this person is so winning and we're just going to luck out. Like, and actually we got like a couple of like really great new people recently. So I caught myself and I was like, you know what? This is the moment where you get to choose, okay, so this antagonizing force has left, and now you can wipe the slate clean. You can have fresh eyes and fresh mouth, right? Everybody at work right now is in unity and harmony, and we all love each other. And so this is a good time to reset and just practice good eye and restrict evil tongue. Right? You know, we all, no matter what our job is and where we work, we all, you know, kind of gripe like family members because you're around each other so much. Yeah. But like, you know, when you're getting on a real roll about something and it's really causing you to have a lot of negative feelings, and right. So it's like, or, you know, when you're like overly noticing, you know, things and it's becoming more and more magnified. So it's, I don't know, just like I stopped myself. I was like, this is a good time to reset and decide, okay, no, I'm going to restrict that speech. You know, I'm going to expect the positive and look to see the best. And so, and then that's what we're going to get, right? Okay, so more going on than meets the eye, energy detox. So really keep a sharp eye on the things in your life that you feel are like little negative things that you let slip, and there's like a little bit of like a tug, like, hey, that you need to watch that, it's sabotaging you, but you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it might be. It might actually be providing more friction than you realize. Okay, what is the subconscious influence affecting us right now, that's influencing us right now? I feel like it's the bottom card. Ooh, needs more planning. I feel that, like, even just launching, trying to get my first letter in the publication out in these 2 platforms tonight. It's like, it's a slow, cumbersome process because you're arriving at different points of troubleshooting and figuring out new workflows, right? So we've had messages recently about taking our time and not getting in a rush. And I found that advice valuable today. Just going back and checking on things. Is this the recommended way to do this? Is this going to cost me more work later, right, down the road? Instead of feeling an urgency to get something done and up, it's like, it's good to like take our time and make sure that we're not rushing it and making a costly mistake. So take your time while you're planning. I'm just gonna check my dinner that's warming up slowly in the oven. Don't want anything to burn. Okay, so we need more planning, and I think that like we know that in our subconscious. So your gut will tell you to double check on things. Pay attention to that. All right, so this is the influence from the past that's beginning to not be such an issue anymore. Don't waste any more time. So the hesitation is over. Procrastination is over. The long, slow building phase is over. The time to procrastinate is done. There's no more hesitating. So we can't waste any more time. This is needed. Whatever it is that you're doing, there's a cosmic urgency, but it's like this was part of the reading of this week. There's a sense of cosmic urgency to get started and not waste any more time, to get the ball rolling. But once you're there, it's like you've got to hurry up and get to the office because you're running late, right? So you're driving in a hurry to get to work. But once you get into the office, don't continue to haphazardly do things in a rush. Take a breath, take a beat, and then take your time in the workspace, right? Hurry up and get on it, but once you're doing a task, take your time within that task so that you don't make costly mistakes. All right, what's crowning us? Clear communication. Awesome. Speak your truth. Speak clearly. Say what you mean. Double check communication. Simple, clear message. Speak your truth. You know, something that is just coming to my memory about Sagittarius is that they can be pretty blunt. I have a stellium in Sagittarius in my chart, and I would say, one of the most direct, blunt people I have ever met, and a lot of people would agree, I think. But maybe try to use the clarity in that blunt directness, but try to polish it up a little bit and soften the edges. But it's going to be important that you are clear in your message. Now, for instance, this is going to be true in your personal communication, but also if you have something bigger that you're putting out there or that you're working on. Better left unsaid. So coming around the corner, something is better left unsaid. And I remember this coming up, and this has been coming into my memory from the 2026 prediction series. There is a sort of a pattern and a back and forth throughout the year that has to do with like times of communication and then times when it's not good to say anything yet, or certain things that are better left unsaid that won't fall on an open vessel. So many times you can be saying something that is true and that is valid, but if you are saying this to a vessel that's not going to be receptive, then it's going to have destructive backlash. So part of knowing the principles of proactive communication are also taking into account, like, is this the right timing? Is this person able to hear me? My phone ran out of storage. I had to erase some things. So anyway, better left unsaid. So in the 2026 prediction series, there is like kind of a back and forth all year about maybe like something that needs to be said, but it's not the time yet, right? So, which by the way, you can still get that with the link in the description box below in my Stan store. It's a spiritual workshop for the whole year. But anyway, so better left unsaid. Also the 2026 prediction series is just going to be included with your, like, the Secret Teaching Substack publication subscription, as well as Patreon. I just haven't gotten to upload that part, those videos yet. So still literally in the midst of launching on Patreon now. I'm so excited. Okay, so better left unsaid, clear communication. So clear communication is important. So there's something that there's like maybe potential for a miscommunication or for things to just not sit well right now. So be very careful about your communication. And if there's any big important conversations that you need to have that feel like there could be like conflict in those, maybe just hold off for now. You know, things that are said cannot be unsaid once they're said. So words are very powerful and they can be healing or they can be very destructive. So be very cautious there. The next card represents our perspective that's affecting us right now. And this card couldn't be more perfect. Your limiting beliefs are the issue here. So the thing that's affecting us most right now is that we have limiting beliefs that are holding us back in some way. So identifying what those are, they could be peppered a little bit everywhere. So just being able to see where we're doing that, where we're catching it and as quickly as we can, and then choosing another thought, right? And reinforcing that better thought. All right, the outer influence that's affecting us right now. The situation has no more to give. There's nothing left for you here. So we've come to the end of a chapter of our lives, and we've come to the end of the old self and the old identity. And there's, like, in some regards, there's just no more to be had from those old patterns and lessons. And so we're starting anew. And so if there's something in your life that's just not, it's just shown all the fruit that it's going to bear, and it's just not giving anything to you, you know, it might be time to start recognizing that and taking that as the direction as to where maybe the reinvention it needs to happen. So the situation has no more to give. There's nothing left for you here. You will regret wasting any more time here. There's nothing more to be shared, given, or received here for the highest good. It's time to let go. The situation does not offer you true value that is authentic to you. So maybe this is like old patterns that have served you in the past, things that brought you comfort or feeling secure, right? A lot of the things that we do are from, you know, low-level trauma responses that we do to give ourselves a sense of security and stability, but they might be completely false, and they might be leading us in the wrong direction or keeping us stuck in some way. So learning how to identify that, and the limiting beliefs are the issue, right? So the limiting beliefs are keeping us stuck in a situation that has no more to give, right? So the next card has to do with our hopes and fears. So these two cards came out together, a lucrative partnership, and this is tied to shame. So a new job, a promising partnership, combining elements to yield great success. So something that is coming together, maybe with a partner, or something that you are doing that's bringing components together, that are bringing aspects together in some situation, can be very lucrative. However, there are limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck in a situation that has no more to give because it is tied to feelings of shame. So there's a reaction or a pattern or behavior, trigger, cycle, lesson, experience, situation, or archetypal person, whatever it may be, the situation is tied to shame. This is a good opportunity to explore the pattern and take action in a different direction. So you have an opportunity coming up or present at this moment, and it's an opportunity that you want to seize and go after with all your heart. But there's something about your beliefs about the situation that are limiting to you, and they are holding you back, and they're keeping you stuck in a season or a cycle or a behavior or a pattern or a form of doing something. It's keeping you in a vessel that no longer has anything to give you. So you've outgrown this vessel, and it's time to expand beyond what you believe is possible, because something is waiting for you that can be life-changing. But the shame that you feel that is lurking inside that hasn't been fully realized or healed is kind of holding you back from seizing that. Okay, and then this is the probable outcome. What do we have here? Graduation! Yay! That's good news. Major healing, lesson truly embodied, wholeness, next level of evolution, completion, and a successful finish. So could it be a better ending to that Celtic cross spread? Whoa, not my computer. Very, very good. Okay. Very exciting. Let's grab some tarot cards. All right, we have Page of Wands in reverse. So I would say don't go like rushing out and making sloppy mistakes, right? Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get impatient and impulsive and impetuous. Take your time. Because the Page of Wands is very enthusiastic and ready to help, but in a reverse situation, they might be doing things in an immature fashion, right? So having a lot of energy and wanting to get started and wanting to do something, but then maybe not doing it patiently enough and missing something important. Now we have Five of Pentacles, which is a poverty consciousness that's keeping us in fear, like illusions of fear that are keeping us stuck. All right, we've got Five of Pentacles and we've got Eight of Swords here. So there's a poverty consciousness, something that we're focused on. We're focused on a lack consciousness that's keeping us in lesser financial comfort than we could be in. I think it's like the poverty consciousness is keeping us stuck, and it's keeping us fearful, and it's keeping us feeling overwhelmed, like we don't know what to do to get out of the situation. But we're not stuck at all. It's an illusion, right? So we need to shift our perspective and shift our consciousness first. Slow down and don't do anything impetuous, right? Before we do anything impetuous, shift our consciousness, shift our focus, and then that will make us feel less overwhelmed and less stuck. And oh my gosh, see, it's just a matter of time before the energy starts shifting, and we are already on our way to better situation, better circumstances, peaceful horizons, right? Six of Swords. So we're on our way into better times. We just have to get through this moment of like transition while things are changing. It's like gonna feel like, I need to do something now, but things really are already shifting and things are already on the upturn. So don't do anything drastic in a rash way or like get in a hurry. And try to shift your consciousness around the situation before you make any moves, because even just your energy shift can shift the circumstances. What do we have here? Ace of Swords. I love this. I don't think we've ever pulled this card out of this deck. It looks for like very unfamiliar imagery. So brilliant ideas that may need refinement, overcoming obstacles with faith that everything will work out, communicate clearly and concisely, remain objective. That is a perfect synopsis of this whole reading so far. I love that. Very beautiful. Beautiful and simple. Now let's grab a Moonology card. Let's see, what do we have here? Ooh, it's time to take action. New moon in Aries. So fiery, get gung-ho, go-getter, get to it. Watch your steps so that you're doing things mindfully, carefully, and intentionally. But don't hold back. Don't procrastinate. Don't drag your feet. All right. What do we need to know for our manifestations specifically? Watch your thoughts. It's important to only think about what you desire, not what you fear, that poverty consciousness. So remember, only think about what you desire, not what you fear. Think about what you desire, not what you fear. You need a little more planning, or just take your time and get organized as you're taking action. Don't rush out. Don't let fear hold you back, and be careful about what you're saying. Mother healing. As your feelings towards your mother heal, your desires manifest more rapidly and accurately. So our mother wound has to do with our self-worth. It affects our self-worth, and our self-worth is connected to money, security, love, relationships, right? And that's connected to all those Venus themes. So right now there's a lot of support and healing these themes, everything that's tied to our security, and our relationships can be healed right now. And so one of the ways that we heal that is focus on healing our relationship and our perspective and our feelings towards our mother. Also father healing. The father wound affects how we show up in life. So it can make us like commitment phobes, or unreliable, or lack discipline, or lack confidence to take action. Your personal power increases as you give any father-related issues to heaven. So pray about your father-related issues. God is your ultimate father. So you know that is your source of your fatherly support. And then our final card is simplify your life. Eliminate clutter from your home and work life to balance the flow of activities. Now, in a literal sense, that always works for me. Whenever everything is clean and I've decluttered and there's no more things to procrastinate with, then I can finally get to work. It does create a flow of energy. But also too, I think decluttering things that are draining your time, energy, and focus and resources as well, right? Cutting things out that are wasteful spending that you're not really utilizing, cutting out things that are wasting your time and taking up your energy and exhausting those valuable resources when you can be doing something maybe more inspiring or, better served elsewhere, right? So just look in your life and then look at the things that take up your time, right? When you have precious goals and things that you want to do, you start to realize how precious your minutes are throughout the day and how much every little thing counts. Even something that seems small, like if you're a content creator, like answering comments or responding to comments, but that sucks up a lot of time very fast. So I can't always, respond to the comments, but I see them and I appreciate them and I try to like them, but I also don't want to use AI to have like those auto response comments. So, I mean, there are just things like I used to watch tarot videos that other tarot readers would post, and I just liked their personality. I liked having that daily thing to do, but I had to stop watching their content because it wasn't super relevant to what I was going through, and I needed to spend that time making content for you guys. So, think about things in your own life, for example. Anything that's taking up your energy or your space in your environment or whatever that's not bringing you joy, that could open up space for something that would be bringing you joy. All right, let's look at our love life. Red flags. Pay attention to the red flags. Everything is a test, right? And so until the universe brings you that authentic opportunity, it's going to keep bringing you little tests to see if you can identify them and if you have the discipline and strength to say no to what isn't right? So can you identify the red flags that others are putting out? And sometimes they're not doesn't mean that they're a bad, vicious villain character, but it just might mean hey, red flag, not compatible for you. Right? It might not be anything big deal, but if I were to meet some guy who was obsessed with every single sport, I'd be that's a red flag for me. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into, but it's definitely not what I'm into. I'm not going to want to live a life with someone who's always got sports on. It's just not what I want in the background, right? So, watching out for red flags doesn't always mean it's some harmful, destructive, potentially abusive possibility. Sometimes it's just, is this real? Is this really gonna jive with you? Is it gonna be compatible? All right, what do we have here? Express your love. Be honest and forthcoming about if you're attracted to someone, if you like them. There's no reason to get to know people on the basis of just being friends and then being friend zony, and establishing the whole context of your connection going in the wrong direction. And if you express attraction or flirt or whatever a little bit and they don't reciprocate, then right off the bat that it's a no-go, right? So sometimes it's best to rule things out by just being upfront about how you really feel, or if you're attracted to someone or not, instead of pretending not to be, and then maybe putting out the wrong vibe. So go ahead and make the romantic gesture. It really does help rule somebody out right away, because say you sit on this secret crush for months and you don't kind of have that developing interaction to get to know somebody well enough to see if there's a mutual chemistry there. You may have a crush on someone for months, and as it turns out, they're completely not available or not compatible or a total no-go. And then you're oh no, I've built this up in my mind and, put a lot of emotional investment in something that's not real, right? So sometimes just kind of being upfront in that department, it's not that you're easy. It's not you're a foregone conclusion that this is going to turn into something or whatever. It's just kind of getting the ball rolling in the right direction. It's when you go into the emergency room and they do tests on everything just to rule it out. Sometimes it seems absurd, but there's let's just rule it out. Heart-to-heart conversations, guys. A lot is coming out about being communicative. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. Wow. Double whammy. All right, and getting to know each other. Amazing. So, when you see red flags pop up, it's maybe bring it up right there, right then and there. Address it and set the record straight instead of projecting a bunch of assumptions or whatever, get to the bottom of it, right? Be honest about your feelings. Express how you feel. Have heart-to-heart conversations. That's how you're really going to get to know people. So as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. So I love that. So generally, I think that it's saying, hey, we're starting a new cycle and we have an opportunity for authentic opportunities to come in, right? And we want to meet those in a way that would set us up for success. So yes, family. Okay, so our card from Mother Mary, Queen of Angels, Jesus' mom, is family. I pray for my family and give the situation over to God for answer, support, and healing. So we talk a lot on this channel about tikkun correction. And all of us have the family that we come from was assigned to us before birth. As a soul, we decided to come down in this group, in this pod, and play out our tikkun correction together. And sometimes that gets so catastrophic that we don't know how to even be around one another without inflicting more damage or having more damage inflicted on us. And so when we're in those situations, we have nothing else to do, nothing more we can do than ask for God's help in healing and bringing resolution and evolution and change to the situation, right? Everybody's on a spectrum, and in some situations, some families aren't in that much upheaval, or they don't have those landmines that are so destructive. They might be able to talk things out and work things out. Different people have different communication skills or relationship skills or emotional intelligence, while others don't. People are different, have different personality types. They might have different personality disorders. So everybody's dealing with something different. But what we all can do, the strategy that we can all adopt and embrace, is asking God to move through the situation and to be present in the situation and to be to help heal the hearts, all the hearts and souls involved, and to help iron out the kinks of our tikkun, to do the correction. Because the tikkun correction is not always the obvious moral black and white option. Sometimes it's very nuanced, and depending on what our particular brand of tikkun is, the ask of one person might be different from the ask of another person. So asking for God's direction and grace and help will certainly add grace to the situation. All right, now let's get some loving words from Jesus. I am hungry starvings. Excited to get this edited and uploaded and start snackies. All right, what do we have here? If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. I love that. And I love the card, Jesus in the Mountains. I've never pulled this one before. I'm so excited. With the Jesus cards, I keep them displayed until the next lunation. And I have like an altar bookshelf with a top hat, and I put it on the top hat. So that's going to be the one sitting out. I love it. If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. Matthew 17:20. Love it. Love it. Well, that is all, you guys. I will see you tomorrow for our weekly energy oracle forecast. I suspect that my Substack article will go out at 3:45 in the morning. So unless you're planning on finding it in the archives, you could go ahead and subscribe for $6 a month, or I think you can pay $60 or $50 a year. I'll have to go back and double check the pricing on that. But yeah, that'll be $6 a month. No, it is $6 a month and $60 a year, because it gives you like the discount for paying yearly upfront is like 2 months for free. So, All right, y'all. Well, I hope that y'all come and join me for my in-depth Bible study, spiritual wisdom study, all of that will be there in Secret Teachings. It's really going to be in the vein of Secret Teachings with Jesus, but it's just going to be more extensive, more topics, more sacred texts, all of that. So we're just going to run wild with it. All right, y'all. I'm excited about it. Peace. Happy full moon.